welcome to the new series of Drishti IAS. I am Pooja, and in this segment today we are going to discuss about the beliefs, teachings, principles and relevance of Saint Kabir. Why this topic is important? Because in prelims you can get a direct question about his teachings, like we got the question directly from the beliefs of Ramanuja in this prelims, and from the perspective of mains, GS mains paper 1, the analytical part is very important, the relevance of the teachings in today's world. So President Ramnath Kovind, he went to Maghar, Uttar Pradesh to pay tributes to Bhakti Saint Kabir. And here he inaugurated the Saint Kabir Academy and Research Center, Swadesh Darshan Yojana. Swadesh Darshan scheme is a scheme under Ministry of Tourism and Culture, and it was launched in the year 2014-15 as a central sector scheme. That means that it was launched way back. And under this central sector scheme, under this, what happens? That the center is providing central financial assistance to states and union territories in order to make sure whatever thematic circuits are based under the Swadesh Darshan scheme, the tourism is boosted through it. Okay. And at Maghar, why it was done at Maghar? Because here only it is said that Saint Kabir used to live in his last days. Okay. Let's move on and know about the brief history of Kabir. So it is believed that he was a 15th century, was living up till like 1518. No historical record is there. This is based on theories. And he was born at Kashi, Varanasi, Uttar Pradesh. And it is said or believed, because there are many legends surrounding his birth, it is said that he was born out of the palm of a Brahmin woman. And because she was fearing abandonment or ostracization from the society, she abandoned baby Kabir, and he was brought up by a Muslim couple. Now, that does not have any accurate account. This is just theory. BJ Ke Nandi Granth has his rhymes and poems. Also, Nabhaji by Bhaktamal, Dabistan I Tawarik by Mohsin Fani, and Khajinat al-Asafiya. There are mentions of Kabir. Kabir was an unusual name. It is said that Kabir means the great, and he was named after a Qazi named him through Quran. And Kabir actually calls himself Julaha and Kori. So it can be a direct question. Julaha and Kori are the names of which of the following social reformers, poets, or historical icon? So it's Kabir. And he actually, again, no historical records, but it is that his guru was a Hindu guru. Ramananda was his name. Very interestingly, how he was very into getting his spiritual upliftment, Saint Kabir. So what did he do when Ramananda used to go to a ghat every day? What did he do? When he saw that Ramananda was approaching towards the ghat, then we see that Kabir, he laid on a step of the staircase, and when Ramananda, he tripped over him, he said, Ram Ram. So it is said that he got his mantra through this only, and Ram Ram was his mantra for spiritual upliftment. It is also said that from Khajin al-Asafiya, we find that a Sufi Pir, Sheikh Takki, was also the teacher of Kabir. Okay, so this is of course accurate. Why? Because it is mentioned. So you have to remember the name Sheikh Takki. And then he also, Kabir, married a woman named Loi. And after that, he had two children, Kamal, okay, the son, and Kamali was the daughter. Okay, moving on, Dabistan of Mohsin Fani al and Ani Akbari of Abul Fazl. He is mentioned as Muwahhid, or believer in one God. Again, because there are historical records of it, we have to remember this. Kabir's God is actually knowledge and bliss. He never believed in any religion. He was very independent from it, and his God is Shabd, or word, because his work was divided into many parts. Shabda was word, and there were Ramanas, that were rhymes, Dohas, or that was couplets, and also many other poems he used to write. Okay, moving on, if we talk about the spiritual influence, he is said to be deeply influenced by Upanishadic non-dualism. Okay, non-dualism and Islamic monoism. So there are two very important principles to be learned from here. These two. Okay, he is said to follow the Vaishnava Bhakti tradition. He stressed on complete surrender towards God. He did not at all acknowledge distinctions which were based on caste, and he was a very unusual poet, because back in the days there was one language that was prevalent whenever a person used to write a poem, but he used many regional languages such as Hindi, Khadi Boli, mixture, it was a mixture, Punjabi, Bhojpuri, Urdu, Persian, and even Marwadi. So if it is asked in your prelims examination about the languages which were related to the poems of Kabir, you have it all here. And the outsourcing of this information has been done from the Government of India's website. So rest assured of the authenticity of this. He wrote 2-line doha, that is couplet, and longer padas, that are songs, okay, that were later turned into music. And popular poet saints who sang devotional songs to God in vernacular languages, they, they used to do it in the regional languages so that they can have a connect with the local populace. Again, abolition system was one of the main aims of the poets who were thriving with the Bhakti movement. Hindu-Muslim unity was something they all stressed upon. Intense emotional attachment with God, that was one of the aims of the Bhakti saints. And Saint Kabir used to belong to Nirguni tradition, where the Nirguni tradition used to believe that God is actually formless. He or she has no form. Moving on, we talk about the teachings. Now, he described the ultimate reality as Allah, Khuda, Hazrat, Pir, and even Ram. And he used terms like Allah, that is the unseen, and Nirakar, that is the formless. These words were drawn from Vedantic tradition. And he did not at all like idol worshipping and also polytheism, that is worshipping many gods. And he emphasized the Sufi concept of zikr and ishq, that is love, to express the Hindu practices of nam simran. Okay? And he believed that God was one, though his names are different. He referred to God as formless. He stated that salvation can be achieved through bhakti. He did not like the ceremonies. He actually refuted these ceremonies and the ostentation that the Brahmins used to have back in the days about building a relationship with God. He said that if one has to build a relationship with God, it is through intense love, that is bhakti. Moving on, if we talk about the legacy has come to light through the Kabir Panth, who are the followers of the radical and egalitarian feeling that Kabir had in him, was propagated to a sect that is living in the north and central India, that is the Kabir Panth. Okay, and a sect and Dalit community is the major concomitant of the Kabir Panth. They all regard, there are many sub groupings under this, but they all regard Kabir as their guru. They treat the Bijak as their holy script. The main festival of the Kabir Panth is of course the Kabir Jayanti, birthday of Kabir. And there are also, not only in India, but in Trinidad, Mauritius, Fiji, Guyana, when indentured labor, approximately 5 lakh indentured laborers, they were brought from British India to these regions. They are also, some of them are also Kabir Panths, and they are continuing to be so. Several of Kabir's verses and song, they form a vital part of the Guru Granth Sahib. Both Hindus and Muslims were ready to assault him during his lifetime because he never used to believe in the religious scriptures of either Hindus or Muslims. So radical thought back then was a crime. After his death, both the communities, they clashed over the claim of his body. Kabir's teachings, they continue to shape various religious traditions, specifically Sikh traditions, and this has been seen to influence Guru Nanak as well. For Hindus, as he was predicted, he was seen as a propagator of Vaishnavite sect for them, and for Muslims, he is a Sufi saint. Okay, let's talk about the criticism of these theories. That is, what are the problems with the current understanding of Kabir? Now, he is seen to be a figure that synthesized both Islam and Hinduism, but he outrightly stressed that he works independently of religion, and his strong dissent towards religion is somewhat muted. A synthesis versus the independence. Also, he did not only target the rituals and practices of both Hinduism and Islam, but dismissed the sacred authority of their religious books, the Vedas and the Quran. So, these could be prelims, well-built prelim statements. Go through them. Kabir did use the name Rama in his poems, but he clarified he was not referring to the avatar of Vishnu, but a formless and general Hindu name for the divine. Every man and woman born are forms of you. So says Kabir, I am Ram and Allah's foolish baby. He is my guru and my peer, he wrote. Kabir's revolt against the caste system also sought to do away with the complex rituals and ceremonies performed by the Brahmins. A Bhakt was neither a Brahmin and an untouchable was just a Bhakt. So, in conclusion, how are the teachings still relevant? Because India as a country is multifarious, it is diverse, but we tend to overlook the importance of unity in diversity. Because religion forms such a chronic and deep connection with our daily life, we should also make sure that we do not overlook the backwardness or the disadvantages of being ostentatious, too ceremonial, or too superstitious. And his teachings are built on that only. Okay. So before I move on to my question, you can look at the question, but I would like to take the names of those who have answered my last question. So because I received a very good response from you all, thank you so much for that. And I am not going to ask any interactive question today. This is the main question for practice for you today. Just bear with me a few moments so that I can go through the names. Okay. So yes, I got 58 comments. Thank you so much for that. And yes, Umesh has answered it correctly. Good job. Then both islands are part of Turkey. Study with Ankush has answered it correctly. Shubham has answered it correctly. Ruchi has answered it correctly. Abhishek Rajput has answered it correctly. Then Puru Rajput, Ravinder Pal, Prachi, Arikash, Rishika Yadav, Mehul, Shambhavi, Dheeraj, Ash, and Saurav has answered it correctly. Aditya has answered it correctly. Happy has answered it correctly. Sujit has answered it correctly. Harshita, Sumit, Abdul has answered it correctly. Apurva, Puneet, Karthik, Sarfaraz, Pranjal, Ramesh, and Shweta Kumari has answered it correctly. Then, okay, Sanket has answered it correctly. Ashu has answered it correctly. Then, Hijaban, I don't know if I am correctly speaking the name. Sorry for that. Simran has answered it correctly. Deepak and Arkadev. Many people have answered it correctly. Thank you so much for answering it correctly. So just look at this question. Discuss how Saint Kabir was not only an unusual poet, but much more than a poet. And 250 words, write it down. Okay. That's it for today. Soon we shall meet again with another question and another segment. Thank you so much for watching.